Part 31. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 301. The Palace Master's words really touched Sikong Xiao's heart. Her biggest headache in terms of fighting power was that she could control her opponent tightly, but she couldn't burst out and defeat him like Zhang Zizai. However, her transition between life and death allowed her to continue to consume the enemy in an immortal position. Slow down, soul capture, magic eye, death god, soul calming talisman, magic miasma talisman, their control methods can be said to be very terrible. And Zhang Zizai's 9 palaces heavenly sword technique and dragon splitting 3 styles are very powerful burst battle tactics, which really make up for Sikong Xiao's weakness of insufficient explosive power. Both of them have obtained enough treasures. Whether they can succeed in cultivation in such a short time depends on their own ability. After that, the palace master asked them to return to the Beast God Tower to practice hard, and asked them not to leave the Beast God Tower from today, and he would occasionally go up to supervise. When Zhang Zizai, who had ill intentions, thought of him supervising, he was horrified, wondering if Xuanhuan would be driven away by him. I must explain that Xuanhuan can help me practice. It is definitely not because of other reasons that we live together. After leaving the Beast God Temple, Sikong Jin and Sikong Xiao said a few words and left directly. He rarely spoke today. It seems that he has self-knowledge. The Lord of the Beast God Palace must know the truth, so it is better for him to speak less now. Feng Xiaoao patted him on the shoulder and said, "Young man, work hard. The palace master has taken out all his capital for you. Don't let this old guy down. Let him earn some reputation before he abdicates. If I tell him what you said, do you still have the hope of becoming the palace master in the future?" Zhang Zizai said with a smile. "Yes, if you become the son of the ancient gods, I will be the palace master, and I will follow you in the future. Don't dream. If it is so easy, anyone can become the son of the ancient gods." Zhang Zizai rolled his eyes. Time is running out. He really needs to sprint. Not only does he need to improve his realm, but he also needs to get this magic eye and the 3 dragon breaking styles. None of this is easy. With his current strength, he is actually not as good as Sikong Xiao. The palace master has estimated that he can reach the 6th level of the holy body realm before the competition of the ancient god Sun. It would be embarrassing if he fails to complete it. He went to the Beast God Tower, and Feng Xiaoao also went to the Beast God Tower. Zhang Zizai chased after her and walked side by side with her. To be honest, she was really beautiful, and her body smelled very good, a faint fragrance. Her totem was a butterfly, and she was also like a butterfly, radiant. "What's wrong with you today?" "I still feel bad," Zhang Zizai asked. "What does it have to do with you?" She bit her red lips and said. "Let me guess, you know the truth, right?" "I am also troubled by having such a father," Zhang Zizai said. "Do you want me to beat you up now?" "You don't deny it, which means you agree. You are still too young and fell into my routine." Zhang Zizai saw at a glance that the girl couldn't hide her thoughts. She glared at Zhang Zizai and said, "It has nothing to do with you anyway. Actually, I can understand you, the feeling of a great image in your heart collapsing. But I hope you can face it. A perpetrator is a perpetrator, not worthy of forgiveness, let alone protection." "But what does all this have to do with you?" she asked hysterically. "No, I'm just afraid that you will be frowning all day long, and by then you won't even be able to handle the 1,000 illusion hands and soul capture, which will affect the team's strength." Zhang Zizai smiled. "Then you can rest assured. No matter when you challenge me, I will make you convinced. You must listen to my orders in the Wuxian battlefield. Who knows what rubbish decisions you will make? I want to hold my own destiny. You are short-sighted, so I worry about you making blind decisions." "Okay, let's see when the time comes." He had to enjoy the scenery on the top floor of the Beast God Tower before going to the Wuxian battlefield. The war between the two was completely burning. Neither of them wanted to submit to the other, so they could only fight head-on. By the way, what is the Wuxian battlefield? Today, I just heard about the power of the demon eye and forgot about it. Because this name seems to be similar to the Life and Death Talisman sect, he paid attention to it. It is a wasteland after the war in the origin continent. It was originally a small country, but it seems that many source beasts appeared in that small country one after another. In a very short time, they occupied that area. Now it has become a place densely populated by source beasts. If we want to compete there, the biggest opponent may be the source beast. The soul capture and the demon eye can deal with low intelligence existences such as the source beast. This is also the calculation of the palace master, and you don't know it. You don't even know this, and you still have the nerve to say that I am short-sighted, she said contemptuously. Zhang Zizai smiled and said, I have a basis for my inference when I say you are short-sighted. As the saying goes, big breasts mean no brains. Do you admit that you have small breasts but are smart? Shameless. How can there be such a person as you in the world? God must be blind to confiscate you. Ah! She was so angry at Zhang Zizai that she almost jumped up. She really wanted to beat him to death. Why did he dare to say anything? Couldn't he say sweet words to girls to make a better impression? Zhang Zizai, I'm always waiting for you in the beast god battlefield. Don't give in. If I don't beat you into a meat pie, I won't be surnamed Sikong, she gritted her teeth. Your surname is not Sikong, Zhang Zizai smiled meaningfully. What do you mean? She was stunned. What do you think? Do you have any basis? No, I was just talking nonsense to disturb your mood. She didn't want to talk to him anymore, so she turned around and ran away. To be honest, although this guy was spoiled, he was not bad at heart. At least he didn't hurt himself like Shen Xiao. Zhang Zizai was still very tolerant of girls. But of course, when it comes to the ancient son of God, she must be obedient, otherwise she will regret it if she ruins her own good deeds. After returning to the Beast God Tower, he told her about the matter in general. After listening to it, Juxian went upstairs. What are you doing? Zhang Zizai asked. I'm going to tell her not to steal my man, and let her keep her distance from you, she turned back and said softly. Not long after going upstairs, Zhang Zizai heard Sikong Xiao's screams, and then Juxian came down with a satisfied smile. What did you do to her? Zhang Zizai said with a headache. No, just tell her that if she dares to seduce you, I will strip her naked and let her see how powerful I am. Although I don't have a man's weapon, I can still make her feel like she's dying of ecstasy. I will also film the process. If she dares to seduce you, I will make it public. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 302. The incident of the ancient Son of God caused a sensation in the entire Shen zone. The information of the 10 participants had long been announced to the world. People discussed all aspects of them and analyzed their strength and information very thoroughly. This was not only a grand event for the Shen zone, but also a grand event for the entire origin continent. There were rumors in more than 200 dynasties that the Shen zone would select the ancient Son of God. This sensational news, along with the information of the 10 participants, swept the world. Ling Qingtian also went back to the Yanlong dynasty to bring this news back, and Zhang Junjian and others knew about it. Although the Zilan king and his wife were away, Zhang Junjian still managed the Daejiang county in an orderly manner. Now Zhang Junjian's reputation in the Daejiang county is at its peak. Zhang Yuning also spent some leisurely days reading books and planting flowers. When Ling Qingtian went back, Zhang Zizai had collected and purchased a lot of treasures in the Shen zone and sent them back. Among them, there was an evolution source that should allow Zhang Yuning's totem to evolve to the earth level. In addition to these, the biggest good news is that Zhang Zizai has been here for more than half a year. When Ling Qingtian came back, he said that Dong Yangjing was pregnant. It is estimated that in 2 or 3 months, the next generation of their generation will be born, and Zhang Zizai will be an uncle. Ruo Xiaoyu was even happier. If she had not stayed in Shenzhen to practice, she would have been anxious to go back to play with children. Zhang Zizai was very relieved that Zhang Junjian was supporting her at home. When he knew that Zhang Zizai was so powerful now and had surpassed him, he was immediately very emotional. This also inspired his fighting spirit. He had a wild level totem and his talent was quite good. If he was serious, he would not be much worse. There were many people in Shenzhen who were not as good as Zhang Junjian. Zhang Zizai's name spread all over the world with the event of the ancient Son of God. Although he was a new face and no one knew his background, he was still concerned by many people. But, even if it was in full swing outside, Zhang Zizai still focused on the final sprint. The Lord of the Beast God Palace had high hopes for him. If he didn't even complete the most basic things, it would be embarrassing. The most important task at present is to forge the 6th level of the Holy Body Realm. You know, the realms of other participants are at least the 8th level of the Holy Body Realm. Not to mention that the Beast God Palace is the second in 1,000 years, this time it didn't even have 2 8th levels of the Holy Body Realm, which is actually a bit embarrassing. It's just that people know that Zhang Zizai has defeated Shi Yun, so maybe he can make up the number. His various indicators rank at the bottom among the 10 people. Of course, even Sikong Xiao is only 7 or 8 out of the top. There are many geniuses in the Beast God Palace, but there is a little lack of top geniuses. Only Sikong Xiao meets the requirements. After all, Shi Yu happened to be young. Under the powerful moonlight gathered by the sky crystal stone on the 99th floor of the Beast God Tower, the speed of forging the acupoints in his body increased day by day. About 10 days after getting the Demon Eye, the 6th level of the Holy Body Realm was successful. From then on, all 409 acupoints in his body were forged into a dazzling moon. It seemed that there were countless moons shining in his body, and countless stars were densely covered. He was like the entire shining night sky. The power of the star Holy Dragon and the power of the moon Holy Dragon were perfected in his body. With the help of the totem of the 9 Immortals, his death god Dark Dragon True Chi was also soaring. This is the final sprint. After the 6th level of the Holy Body Realm was successful, Zhang Zizai changed the time of practicing the realm from night to day, and the time for practicing the 3 dragon splitting styles and familiarizing with the Demon Eye should be night. That's because next he needs to absorb the most popular sun power and start forging the 7th level of the Holy Body Realm. So far, the skin, muscles, bones, tendons, heart, blood and acupoints have been forged into a holy body, and most of his body is already in the holy body state. The 7th, 8th, and 9th levels of the Holy Body Realm are all the most critical levels of this realm. Among them, the 7th level forges the most critical part of the body, the 5 internal organs. All internal organs except the heart, such as the liver, kidney, lung, and stomach, are in the ranks. As the saying goes, internal strength leads to abundant energy. Internal strength refers to the strength of the 5 internal organs. The sun, moon, and star Holy Dragon body forging technique requires the absorption of the most explosive sun power, forging each internal organ into the scorching sun in the sky, burning fiercely, and bursting out infinite heat and vitality. At that time, his starry sky holy body will be like having a core, and the explosive power of the sun, moon, and star Holy Dragon body forging technique will be truly revealed. This cultivation method is definitely better than others. With the sky crystal stone, it must be easier to absorb the power of the sun. During the day, the hot sun rays, gathered by the sky crystal stone, shine on Zhang Zizai's body, just like a flame burning on his body. The forging of the 5 internal organs is very difficult, and in order not to damage the body's functions, it must be very careful. When seeing Zhang Zizai's body burned by the sun's rays and the whole person gnashing his teeth in pain, Juxian felt sorry for him. After finishing the practice every day, she would use some spiritual medicine and glowing charms to wipe Zhang Zizai's body. Her soft little hands would circulate around his chest and stomach, which was really enjoyable. Don't look up. Juxian looked down and stretched out her hand to press the little brother down, but often this would only make it harder. We haven't reached the top floor yet. The current task is to intensify the practice. Don't be distracted, she scolded. Zhang Zizai was helpless. Such a charming beauty was here, and she was the one who distracted him. Sikong Xiao was upstairs, and occasionally he could hear her practicing the 1,000 illusion hands. The sky was amazing. Once she heard Zhang Zizai making noises downstairs, she would shake the soul capture upstairs to influence him. The forging of the 7th level of the Holy Body Realm was a bit difficult and took a long time. After all, the effect of the sky crystal stone on the 99th floor was somewhat different from that on the top floor. Zhang Zizai estimated that he might not be able to succeed before that day came. So next, in addition to honing the 3 styles of dragon cracking and the magic eye, he also selected a moon-level talisman called Immortality, 10,000 Breath Talisman. Most of the talismans in the Immortality series were healing and auxiliary types. This 10,000 Breath Talisman was not difficult. After being activated, it could detect the breath of life in a large area around it. Zhang Zizai would know more clearly than others where there was life and where people were lurking, which was equivalent to having a lot more eyes. This 10,000 Breath Talisman should be able to play an effect in the lifeless battlefield. For some reason, before the final selection of the Ancient Son of God, the news that Zhang Zizai was going to challenge Sikong Xiao spread, and many people were waiting outside the Beast God battlefield every day to watch the excitement. Sikong Xiao was not weak, and Zhang Zizai had to wait until he was sure enough before taking action, so as to avoid having to listen to her orders when he arrived at the Wushan battlefield. As a month passed, the people of the Divine Sect were about to set off for the Wushan battlefield. At this time, Zhang Zizai issued a declaration of war to Sikong Xiao. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 303. Nowadays, people basically know that the battle rules of the Wushan battlefield are that one god palace forms a group of 2 people. The 4 groups of people in the other god palaces basically have very good relationships. Especially the Sword God Palace, they are twin brothers and sisters, a boy and a girl. But the Beast God Palace is a bit weird. It is said that Zhang Zizai and Sikong Xiao have been in conflict since they met, and have been fighting fiercely. Sikong Xiao's father and Zhang Zizai's holy servant Feng Xiaoao have also had a blood feud recently. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. The weirdest thing is that before the final selection of the Ancient Son of God, everyone has to preserve their strength, but they still have to decide who is better. Not everyone is qualified to follow to the Wushan battlefield, at least it is basically impossible for the sacrificial disciples. So the fierce fight between Zhang Zizai and Sikong Xiao became the most lively thing before the final selection of the Ancient Son of God. Zhang Zizai hasn't come down to challenge yet, and there are already crowds of people below. However, the words had been spoken, and he was definitely going to challenge. He went down the Beast God battlefield and said to the 9 gods who guarded the tower, I want to challenge Sikong Xiao at the top. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Sikong Xiao had already walked down from the top. Amid the noise of the people, Sikong Xiao flew lightly on the battlefield, as light as a butterfly. At this time, there were really a lot of people around the Beast God battlefield. There were much more people than the last time Zhang Zizai challenged Shi Yun. Zhang Zizai saw that most of them were from the other 4 palaces. This time, the Beast God Palace was the least favored because of the 2 people's discord and Zhang Zizai's low realm. Even so, it was still exciting to see them win or lose. Under the attention of the crowd, Zhang Zizai looked at her and said, "Is it cleaned up? If you lose, I will move in." "Dream on your daydream," Sikong Xiao said coldly. It seems that at this time, she didn't think Zhang Zizai could beat her. "I once said that I would challenge the top of the Beast God Tower, but I didn't expect to reach this point so quickly." Zhang Zizai looked around. There were too many people around. There were tens of thousands of genius priests gathered here. Their eyes were staring at the two people. Some of them obviously had image symbols in their hands. This was to record their battle and show it to the other 8 people. In fact, it was unwise to expose strength at this time. Maybe the 8 people who participated in the battle were already hiding here at this time, to understand the opponent first. Especially Zhang Zizai, this new character, they didn't know anything about it. "After the battle, I hope you can keep your promise. When you arrive at the Wuxian battlefield, listen to me in everything." "Everything is arranged by me," Sikong Xiao said. Many people heard it, and many people knew that they were fighting for the leadership of the Wuxian battlefield. "This is not okay. What if you want to be frivolous with me, can't I resist?" Zhang Zizai laughed. Everyone laughed, secretly wondering how Zhang Zizai could be so shameless. "Shut up, even if all the men in the world died, I wouldn't even look at you," Sikong Xiao said anxiously. In her anxiety, her eyes subconsciously looked in one direction. Zhang Zizai also looked over and instantly locked onto 2 people. They were 2 young men with outstanding temperaments. One was dressed in white, and the other in green. The young man in white was taller, with a handsome face. Between his smiles, there was a bad evil spirit, and his eyes were quite warm. Standing in the crowd, one could tell at a glance that he was quite extraordinary. All these were enough to show that this person was very talented, and either rich or noble. At first glance, he was of top origin and top talent. Compared with Sikong Xiao, he seemed to be able to suppress her. His presence made it easy for people to ignore the young man in green beside him, but Zhang Zizai's eyes were locked on this young man in green. He looked a little ordinary, and his eyes seemed a little confused, but when he stood there, the more ordinary he was, the more strange he looked, as if he did not belong to this world, but transcended this world, and was out of tune with the bustling surroundings, as if he was the only one in the world. The dazzling young man next to him was not as good as him. Zhang Zizai guessed who they were at once. The handsome young man in white was the youngest son of the master of the Tianshan Palace, and he was a son born in old age. His name was Tianyi, and he was the younger brother of Tianyuan, who was killed by Juxian after Tianyuan's death. He was the most talented son of the master of the Tianshan Palace in terms of talent and origin. He was the highest existence in the entire Shen zone. Although he was not as amazing as his brother Tianyuan, he was among the best in the entire Shen zone, and there was no problem in ranking in the top 3. The reason why he ranked in the top 3 instead of the first was because of the young man in blue next to him, who was Yaishan. According to rumors, he is the absolute number 1 of this generation. It is said that he was born in a very low class. He came from a war-torn dynasty. His parents were farmers at the bottom of the society. They were not even totem warriors. He had never even touched the origin pillar. It was only when he was 13 years old that his parents went to the city. He sneaked in on the day of worshipping the gods and followed others to touch the origin pillar. He directly awakened the flood-level totem. From then on, his fate changed. Between heaven and earth, it can be said that there has been no one who has directly awakened the flood-level totem in tens of thousands of years. Even the son of the master of the Tianshan Palace is impossible. He is the most unimaginable genius in the rumors of the entire origin continent. He rose from the bottom and has been practicing for 3 or 4 years to reach his current realm. When he first came to the divine sect at the age of 13, he was directly accepted as the son of God by the palace master of the heavenly palace. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. In the past few years, He has created endless myths in the divine sect. What is commendable is that he still maintains the innocent heart when he was in the countryside. He is clean and indifferent. He only practices without pursuing fame and fortune, and does not argue with others. Anyone who sees him will admire him. From the bottom to the top of the world, people say that he is a gift from the ancient gods to the heavenly palace. His appearance is to make up for the regret of the palace master of the heavenly palace losing the Xuanhuan. In fact, he is the adopted son of the palace master of the heavenly palace. He is younger than Tianyi, so he calls Tianyi his brother. The two of them are naturally the candidates for the heavenly palace to participate in the war. Tianyi, Yishan. The name Yishan was given by the lord of the heavenly palace. His previous name was Zhao Gangzhu, which was not presentable, so it was abandoned. However, the legend of Zhao Gangzhu was still circulating in that dynasty. According to rumors, he had been accepted as the son of the ancient god and went to the divine domain where the god was. Yishan, playing chess with the sky, is endless fun. This represents the endless ambitions of the lord of the heavenly palace for him. The words Zhang Zizai heard the most during this period were, Yishan is the ancient son of the god appointed by the sect master. He is the only one who surpasses the other 9 people. In this battle on the battlefield of no life, the other 9 people are just a formality, and they are running with Yishan to become the ancient son of the god. Today, Zhang Zizai felt that this young man in blue was indeed the most terrifying genius he had ever met. The terrifying thing is that he is still very introverted. There is no threat in him, only endless depth. There are 2 good news to tell you. The first good news. The madman decided to hold a first Dragon Clan King of Glory competition tonight. The specific rules are as follows. Around 7 o'clock tonight, Crazy will send a WeChat group QR code from the WeChat public account, and there are a total of 100 places to join the group. Starting at 8 o'clock, Crazy will send the room to the group, and everyone will enter according to their hand speed. In addition to Crazy himself, there are 4 places in each game. Play matches, and every time you win a game, Crazy will send a 200 yuan red envelope to the group. A total of 1000 yuan red envelope is prepared. People in the group who do not participate in the battle can watch the battle through the link in the group to appreciate Crazy's gold level, and at the same time estimate the time when the red envelope will be sent after the battle. Try to grab the red envelope as soon as possible. An additional 50 yuan red envelope will be awarded to the MVP of each game, no red envelope for losing games. I don't play ranked games because I'm afraid that someone will say that Crazy is just trying to get stars. The main purpose of holding this event is to promote the communication between Crazy and readers, deepen the interaction and connection of our Holy Dragon Totem, and liven up the atmosphere of our Book Friends group. There are only 100 spots for grabbing red envelopes. As long as you join the group, you can share a 1000 yuan red envelope, so please pay special attention to the QR code sent by the WeChat account at 7 o'clock. Hurry up and join the group. If you can't join the group, it doesn't matter. Once the event is successful and everyone responds well, it will be held frequently in the future. It's mainly for fun. The red envelopes are just for fun, please don't take it too seriously. There are also some rules and regulations that will be announced on the WeChat account at 7 o'clock. If you want to participate or watch the game and grab red envelopes, please open WeChat, add friends, search for the public account Feng Qingyang, follow, and then wait for 7 o'clock to rush into the group. Seriously remind you that if you don't have time after 8 o'clock in the evening, please don't join the group and waste your spots. Thank you for your cooperation. If you are not good at playing, please do not participate in the game for the 50 yuan MVP. If you lose, you will not be able to send out red envelopes and may be criticized for your poor skills. If many people want to watch the game, please leave a message in the 17K comment area. If there are too many people, Fengzi will consider letting everyone watch the entire live broadcast room. No gifts are required. Thank you. The requirement is the WeChat area. Thank you. The second good news. Fengzi is particularly afraid of trolls. Often, activities with good intentions are easily trolled. So in order to prevent myself from being trolled, I started working overtime last night and wrote until 7 o'clock tonight. At 12 o'clock in the morning after the competition, the Holy Dragon Totem will explode 10-12 chapters to celebrate the successful completion of the competition. Save the trolls from saying that I am not doing my job properly. Everything is for fun, sending out red envelopes, and giving everyone some benefits. Any work requires a combination of work and rest. If you must troll, please be gentle to Fengzi. There are only 2 chapters during the day. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 304. When he looked into his eyes, Zhang Zizai felt threatened by him. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. He is a mythical existence, with a lower origin than me. Although I was not born and raised in this divine sect, I am still a young prince of the dynasty. He sighed a little. Even if everyone thought that he was the appointed son of the ancient gods and the others were used by the sect master as his stepping stones, Zhang Zizai still wanted to fight, starting from this beast god battlefield. I heard that Yishan is pursuing you, Zhang Zizai asked. What does it have to do with you? I'm afraid you will let him go. If you are a traitor, there will be no way to fight. Zhang Zizai laughed. He doesn't need it at all. Who can be his opponent? Sikong Xiao said contemptuously. Look, now you are trying to boost others' morale and destroy your own prestige. I am worried about the future of our beast god palace. No, I have to report to the palace master that you are suspected of letting the team win. Can you not be so annoying? In the Wushan battlefield, I only strive for honor for the beast god palace. This is my principle, but you only slander me with a mean heart, Sikong Xiao said angrily. Haha, just kidding, look how scared you are. You are in a bad mood and have no brains. You are really not suitable to be a leader. Zhang Zizai was telling the truth. She just has poor stress resistance. I will beat you to death. After being ridiculed for a few times, she blushed and started a fight directly. Wait. Unexpectedly, the Lord of the Beast God Palace suddenly appeared at this time. He stood on the Beast God battlefield, facing everyone, and said, no matter who you are, leave here immediately. I will give you 30 breaths. If you don't leave, I will chase you away. Especially you, Yishan, Tianyi, Hualei, Lin Hanyu, Junji Unsheng, Jun Muxi, Miao Yu, Zhuhong, U8, hurry up, otherwise I will throw you out. All 8 people are here. After all, there are too many people, and it is difficult to find where they are hiding. Sure enough, they want to observe the methods of these 2 people first. Even Yishan came, how could others not come? The Lord of the Beast God Palace obviously didn't want them to see it, but he was thoughtful. Under the scolding of the Lord of the Beast God Palace, no matter how much people complained in their hearts, they could only leave in disgrace at this time. The ones who stayed here were all the holy servants of the Beast God Palace. Even the servants were driven away by the Lord of the Palace, so as not to use the image symbol to record collaborating with the enemy and selling out the country. Yishan and Tianyi also left. Tianyi seemed a little unwilling to leave. He muttered a few words in his mouth, probably cursing the Lord of the Beast God Palace. In the blink of an eye, the lively scene became empty. The Lord of the Beast God Palace turned around and said, you want to see the details of our Beast God Palace, you wish. You too, hurry up, you have to set off for the lifeless battlefield tomorrow, let me see your strength. Tomorrow, this is a little faster than Zhang Zizai imagined. After all, there are still 10 days, and it seems that the journey is a bit far. Sikong Xiao, Feng Xiaoao, Shi Jian, Xian Kang, and other holy servants are all standing here. They didn't communicate throughout the whole process. They were all very indifferent, and their eyes were staring at Zhang Zizai. With the Lord of the Beast God Palace here, no one dared to take out the image symbol to record. In this case, Zhang Zizai didn't waste time. He was very straightforward and took out the magic eye directly, and transformed it into a long sword in his hand. On the hilt, the blood-red magic eye was rolling, which was really scary. Zhang Zizai, has your realm been broken through? Asked the palace master. Zhang Zizai nodded and said, I have broken through. If there is another month, I estimate that I can make another level. The palace master said, with your time and speed, if the ancient god Sun acts according to the original date, your chances may be about the same as Yishan's. It's a pity that the possibility is indeed very low for you now, but don't give up. The specific rules will be announced tomorrow. As far as I know, after entering, it is not entirely a duel of strength. Teamwork and fighting wits and courage are very important. The master does not only want geniuses, but also the importance of character to cultivation. Understood? If it is just a duel of strength, why go to the Wuxian battlefield? Just start the battle here. Sikong Xiao heard that the palace master had been talking to Zhang Zizai, and she felt a little disappointed. Judging from the difference between soul capture and demon eye, she had a hunch that the palace master seemed to be more optimistic about Zhang Zizai. This made her feel very uncomfortable. She was the first in the Beast God Tower. Why did he value Zhang Zizai so much? The winner today has not been decided yet. At the palace master's signal, the duel could begin. The soul-catching bell appeared directly in Sikong Xiao's hand. She began to show the power of the totem. Her totem itself had a powerful domain deceleration effect, and her evolution source life and death could allow her to switch between life and death. At this time, a thin layer of dazzling butterfly wings appeared behind her, and she flew up, with colorful soft light all over her body. No wonder Yishan likes you, you are really beautiful. You are worthy of being the #1 beauty in the Beast God Palace. It would be better if your breasts were bigger. Zhang Zizai looked at her and said with a smile. Go to hell. They are both men, why is he and Yishan, one in heaven and one on earth compared to each other? Yishan is so elegant, gentle, like a gentleman, why is this guy so vulgar? I can't figure it out. She shook the butterfly wings, and an invisible light wave swept through. Zhang Zizai was a little troubled because under the characteristics of her totem, the entire Beast God battlefield was a deceleration field. His body movements, whether lightning storm or free and easy journey, were greatly affected and could not exert half of their power. It is indeed a headache to be her opponent, but if it is a teammate, she can slow down the enemy, then my body movement advantage can be exploded. Although he was slowed down, Zhang Zizai was not without means. He directly took out a few magic miasma talismans. She had the ability of the field type, and Zhang Zizai could also have it with the talisman. The miasma of the magic miasma talisman swept instantly. Although she could slow down, she could not find her position. She was still elusive, and the miasma in the sky kept entering her body. In terms of protracted battle, she would only become weaker and weaker. Does this miasma smell good? Zhang Zizai suddenly appeared in front of her, and the magic eye kept flashing. When the sword move began, she was already affected by the magic eye. As filthy as you are, disgusting, Sikong Xiao said angrily. Seeing that they were still so confrontational even at this time, the Lord of the Beast God Palace was really a bit overwhelmed. When he was overwhelmed, Sikong Xiao showed her talent. She rang the soul capture. In this month, she has completely mastered the soul capture. Bell. The magic sound filled his ears at this moment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 305. The power of soul stealing is indeed very terrifying for ordinary saint body realm cultivators. In Shenzhen, Even if normal cultivators are not totem talisman masters or totem spirit masters, they will practice the method of soul forging. Some people who have spent a lot of effort can forge their souls to the heavenly spirit realm. But those who, like Zhang Zizai, forge to the empty spirit realm in the saint body realm should be extremely rare. Maybe, there is no such thing at all. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward arrow. Shenzong is already the pinnacle of the origin continent, and all Shenzong are like this. Sikong Xiao has the soul-stealing bell, which is enough to walk sideways. However, she met Zhang Zizai, who has a soul in the empty spirit realm. Zhang Zizai has a very high resistance to this kind of soul-vibrating totem magic weapon. Even so, the power of soul-stealing still made him a little dizzy. However, he could at least hold on. At this time, he could see that Sikong Xiao was shaking the soul capture with one hand, and the other hand had completely changed into white jade. That was her previous unique skill, from Sikong Jin's Xiankong finger. Puff puff puff. While shaking the soul capture, she slowed down Zhang Zizai, and then pierced with the Xiankong finger. Her life and death dream butterfly chi formed the chi of the Xiankong finger and penetrated through. For example, Zhang Zizai's sword chi was not much inferior. In the state of deceleration, Zhang Zizai was still disturbed by the soul capture and it was difficult to resist. This is indeed Sikong Xiao's strong point. Her thousand illusion hand has not been used yet. I will make you lose convincingly. She bit her red lips lightly and stabbed the Xiankong finger. Dream on, Zhang Zizai laughed. The other party was too confident in the power of soul capture. Several grey talismans appeared in his hand, and he shot them out continuously, forming a dead shield in front of him, blocking her Xiankong finger one after another. At the same time, he shot towards Sikong Xiao. His speed was indeed reduced, but his explosive power was too strong, so he seemed very fast. Magic Eye. The soul-piercing effect of the magic eye needs to be triggered. When Zhang Zizai blocked the Xiankong finger and withstood the soul shock of the soul capturing, and then stimulated the effect of the magic eye, he directly performed the Nine Palaces Heavenly Sword technique. In the miasma, 9 sword energies condensed. Forming the Nine Palaces sword formation, the power of 9 attributes burst out crazily at this moment. What the Palace Master values most is Zhang Zizai's burst damage. After cooperating with the soul-piercing psychedelic effect of the magic eye, the burst of the Nine Palaces Heavenly Sword technique became very terrifying. At that moment, Sikong Xiao, whose soul realm was far inferior to Zhang Zizai, suddenly saw those eyes. It was like a nightmare. At this moment, her soul was greatly stimulated, and many illusions came to her mind. She almost stood there for a moment. It was just a moment, and the Nine Palaces Heavenly Sword technique had already killed her in front of her. She was very dangerous. Die. Under the shock of the magic eye, she was already in danger. At this moment, she once again demonstrated the power of her totem. Her body turned into an illusory state. The magic in it was really amazing. Moreover, in the illusory state, Zhang Zizai's Nine Palaces Heavenly Sword technique almost completely avoided her. To be more precise, it passed through her body. This is the transition between life and death. Life is normal, and death is an illusion in an instant, immune to Zhang Zizai's attack just now. But it is obvious that the death state cannot last too long, and she quickly recovered her entity. But even so, her illusion at that moment really made Zhang Zizai amazed, just like a butterfly suddenly disappeared. This is the magic of the totem, and it is the incredible creation of the ancient gods. Even so, Zhang Zizai will not be scared. It was just an attack that was blocked. He pressed forward with lightning storm again. His offensive was quite fierce. The opponent's most terrible soul-stealing had limited effect on Zhang Zizai. In addition, the effect of the magic eye itself was even more terrible than soul-stealing. It was obvious that Sikong Xiao was defeated step by step. If it weren't for the death state of the totem just now, she would have been killed by Zhang Zizai. 9 Palace's Heavenly Sword Technique. This time Zhang Zizai was strong and crushed. Within the range of his magic miasma, the longer the killing time, the greater his advantage. Sikong Xiao was continuously shaken and psychedelic by the magic eye. Now her mind was full of the blood-red eyes and her heart was full of infinite panic. All the holy servants could see that she had been defeated. The 9 Palace's Heavenly Sword Technique pressed on her this time. She seemed unable to change the death state again. It was estimated that this time, she was defeated miserably. In this moment, it was the Palace Master who easily resolved Zhang Zizai's attack and protected Sikong Xiao from getting hurt. The Palace Master took action, and the victory or defeat was already decided. Zhang Zizai used the root of the talisman to collect the miasma, and the beast god battlefield was not so smoky. He easily collected the magic eye, turned it into a small eyeball, threw it back to the space jade pendant, and then smiled, "Miss Sikong, remember what you said. When you arrive at the Wuxian battlefield, everything will be arranged by me. If you go back on your word, you are a turtle bastard." Sikong Xiao stood there in a daze. "Palace Master, it's unfair." Sikong Xiao's eyes were red, and tears were about to burst out. "What's unfair?" the Palace Master asked. "The magic eye you gave him is more powerful than the soul-stealing one you gave me. I have been shaking it for a long time, and the soul shock he received seems to be not strong. There is not much effect at all. On the contrary, his magic eye affects my performance too much. I have practiced my 1,000 illusion hands well, but I don't have the opportunity to use them," Sikong Xiao said aggrievedly. She was really unwilling to lose to Zhang Zizai. "You are wrong. Soul stealing is very powerful and suitable for you. The reason why he can resist is because he is a totem talisman master. His soul realm has reached the level of ethereal realm. At this age, he and Hualei are the only 2 people in the entire divine sect who have such a soul realm. Soul stealing has a general effect on him, but it still has a great killing power on the other 7 people, including Yishan," the Palace Master said seriously. "Hey, don't be a jerk if you lose. Don't say that your 1,000 illusion hands are useless. I haven't used my 3 dragon splitting styles either. Otherwise, it would be meaningless to defeat you in a while," Zhang Zizai said. "Ethereal realm soul." She glanced at Zhang Zizai and finally felt powerless. She finally knew why the Palace Master was so optimistic about Zhang Zizai. His dark style of fighting was too oppressive. If Yishan was noble and holy, then Zhang Zizai was like a devil, making her feel defeated from the heart when she was fighting. He was a terrifyingly aggressive person. The Lord of the Beast God Palace was not partial. He was indeed suitable for the magic eye, while Sikong Xiao could not bring out the power of the magic eye. After all, she was not good at using weapons. "Okay, if you are good, I will listen to you. I will move it out now." She finally gave in. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 306. No need, I'll leave tomorrow. I'll give you one last night to commemorate him, Zhang Zizai said domineeringly. Ill. Sikong Xiao glared at him. It seemed that it was impossible to resolve this mutually unhappy problem. When we reach the battlefield of Wuxian, we must fight side by side, the master of the Beast God Palace was still nagging. They were leaving tomorrow, so he asked the 2 of them to go back and get ready and bring everything they needed to bring. The Holy God Attendant will basically be present, but the Divine Attendant needs to apply. Ling Qingtian and Zhu Xian have already passed the application and will set off with Zhang Ziyi. Zhu Shen and Gu Xianying stayed in Shenzong. After all, Lu Dingxing and the others couldn't go see them. This night, Zhang Zizai mainly gathered with his younger brothers and sisters to accept their bragging. In fact, they have worked extra hard and have made great progress now, especially Lu Dingxing, who is approaching the holy body realm. Zhang Zizai will still find ways to make them stronger, and he is already thinking of ways to find the source of evolution. Late at night, when he came back, he was greeted by the resentful eyes of the 9 Immortals. "You can go up to the top tonight, but it's all your fault for making me wait." "I wonder if she has strong ideas in this regard because she is old," she pouted and said with tears in her eyes. Is it really okay? She had been teasing him all the time, so he didn't even know whether it was really okay without getting married. Without experience, he didn't know what to do. "I promise that when we come back from the inanimate battlefield, we will live on the top floor of the Beast God Tower. Then you can play with me however you want," Zhang Zizai coughed and said. "It's a beautiful idea, but it won't do any good. I won't let you touch it." Sure enough, he was still teasing himself. "Did you see the one named Yi Tian today?" she asked while helping Zhang Zizai pack his things for going out. Now Zhang Zizai has been arranging what to wear on the first day and what to wear on the second day for a month. She has already prepared them and marked them with serial numbers. "It's so convenient to have such a woman taking care of you. See you, it's quite special. Of course, everyone is saying that he is the destined son of the ancient god. You are just accompanying him for a formality. How can he be awesome?" she said. "So what? I still think you are better. After all, you are my man. I believe you." She blinked and gave her a wink, which made Zhang Zizai tremble all over. "You will follow me to see how I behave, right?" Zhang Zizai asked seriously. "That's right. Aren't you unwilling to get together with too many people and hate their comments?" Zhang Zizai asked. Juxian shook his head helplessly and said, "There is no way. Who asked our men to participate in such an important event? I, a little woman, will definitely go with you to support you. Just ignore those gossips." Zhang Zizai knew that in order to make herself more powerful, she didn't care about walking among the crowd, didn't care about those strange eyes, and didn't care about facing her real enemy, the Lord of the That Day Palace. "I will protect you. In this world, even if the ancient god wants to touch you, I swear that one day I will make him fall." Zhang Zizai hugged her gently from behind. "Good boy, you are so kind to me. It's not in vain that I betray you every day to seduce you," Juxian said with a sweet smile. "Your sister, don't tell jokes when I am sensational." After getting along for a long time, Zhang Zizai even learned the essence of the word "your sister." After getting along day and night, she has long been a close relative. If it was love before, it is love now. He really loves her deeply, from the bottom of his heart, and this is the most important thing to him. Now, if there is anything that can turn Zhang Zizai into a devil, it is if others bully her. They know every bit of each other. Zhang Zizai wanted to marry her and become husband and wife, but he didn't know how to ask because she wouldn't agree. Unless she can live through that life and death, otherwise, she will not become his wife at all. She just wanted to go on like this and leave the best memories. Zhang Zizai knew very well what it felt like to love someone. "My mother said that when a person understands true love, he will grow up. Love is a habit, familiar with her every move, knowing all her preferences, and an eternal tacit understanding between the two." It was as if Zhang Zizai knew that every time she hugged him, she would definitely pinch the inside of her arm, making her grin in pain. It was as if he knew that if he needed her, she would be there. He didn't care about the youth gap, the rumors, or the so-called fate, he only cared about her happiness. When that day approached like a scourge, Zhang Zizai just wanted to hug her under the moonlight and see the bright stars in the sky. "Sister 9 Immortals. It's a bit inappropriate to still call me that." She leaned on Zhang Zizai's chest, patted Zhang Zizai's chest gently, and said softly, "What's your name?" "Lady," Zhang Zizai smiled. "Call me Jur. I also want to be a little woman and lean on you." Jur, Zhang Zizai's Jur. He thought about this title and felt nothing but sweetness in his heart. He reached out and held her shoulders, suddenly full of heroic spirit, and said loudly to the stars in the sky, I, Zhang Zizai, swear. I must become the son of the ancient gods. I must let my Jur live forever. If I can't fulfill my oath, on the day of Shenzhou Day, I will die with you. This chapter is not over yet, please click on the next page to continue reading. Don't say that, it's even more torture for me. She burst into tears. Zhang Zizai took a deep breath, and he smiled, saying, don't be so unconfident about me. If you don't believe in me, will there be anyone who believes in me? Okay, then I look forward to it. She gently held Zhang Zizai's hand and said, can I recite a line? What line? She looked at the starry sky, her eyes full of sweetness, and she said with great anticipation, my sweetheart is a peerless hero. He will appear on a day that everyone is looking forward to, wearing a golden armor and stepping on 7 colored clouds to marry me. She looked at Zhang Zizai with great expectation and asked, will there be such a day? My peerless hero. Zhang Zizai saw that although she was smiling, her tears had already flowed down. She wiped her tears while smiling at Zhang Zizai, her eyes full of expectation. Zhang Zizai hugged her tighter. He said in a deep voice, it will definitely be as you wish, but what I step on may not be 7 colored clouds, but 1,000-year-old turtle. Ha ha. Both of them laughed. Dreams are indeed so wonderful. I hope there won't be any separations between life and death. Zhang Zizai's palms were very strong. Now he was afraid of losing her even in his dreams, afraid that she would leave him and he would be powerless. When they were laughing the happiest, Sikong Xiao's voice came from above. Can you two stop being so mushy? There are still people up there, are you going to let people live? Sikong Xiao was really depressed. Cultivation, what the hell, cold dog food stuffed into my mouth, how could I have the mood to cultivate? She went back to Sikong Mansion overnight to find her mother. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 307. Mujin Palace. Among the holy god attendants of Mushen Palace, Lin Mu is considered to be a well-known one. Especially before the final election of the ancient son of God, he became even more famous. That's because his youngest son, Lin Hanyu, has become one of the competitors for the ancient son of God. The once talented Lin Xiaoyun died tragically, but Lin Hanyu, who performed better, inherited the mantle, and Lin Mu was relieved. After all, he came to have a son when he was old. After Lin Xiaoyun's death, he put all his thoughts on this little son and finally cultivated him into a talented person. In this regard, he is similar to the master of Tianshan Palace. The master of Tianshan Palace also tried his best to cultivate Tianyi after the death of Tianyuan, but Tianyi is definitely not as good as Tianyuan, but Yishan has appeared. His appearance finally made up for the regret of the palace master of Tianshan Palace losing his Tianyuan. Before setting off, Xiankang from the Beast God Palace came here to meet his old friend Lin Mu, and his friend Shi Jian also came here. When a distinguished guest came to the door, Lin Mu hurriedly entertained him. Did he know that this Shijian was young and promising, and had a powerful clan and the entire Fengtian dynasty behind him? Shenzhen would not want to lose the Fengtian dynasty, so Shijian was probably the next one. The former master of the Beast God Palace. Xiankang comes here often. The three of them were in the courtyard. Lin Mu and Shi Jian were playing chess, while Xiankang was watching. Brother Shi Jian is really awesome, but I still lost. He is indeed the person who will be the master of the palace in the future. Lin Mu held his long beard in his hand and said with a slight smile. Shi Jian shook his head and said, brother, please stop praising me. Sikong Jin was already difficult enough to deal with. Now Feng Xiaoao is added to the mix. It is even more difficult. This Feng Xiaoao also brought back a priest and brought my son's body into the war. The places have all been taken away, which is really disappointing. I heard that Zhang Zizai defeated your son Xiun, Lin Mu asked. Xiankang said next to him, the beast god palace master values this guy very much. More than half a year ago, his strength was only around the 4th level of the holy body realm, which is similar to that of my grandson Xianye. I didn't expect that his progress would be so rapid. Lin Mu sneered and said, that's the boy who was with the god curse. The one who got the source of evolution on the god's luck day. Xiankang nodded. Shi Jian said, by the way, their brothers and sisters have been back for so long, why do you still let them get away with it? Xiankang and Lin Mu looked at each other, and Xiankang said, on the one hand, the palace master of the beast god warned me. On the other hand, the palace master of the heavenly god did not take any action. We didn't know what he meant and didn't dare to act rashly. The father's incompetence has not allowed his children to rest in peace. Then when the 9 immortals are sent to the temple of sacrifice, they can find opportunities to kill them. Why stay here today? Shi Jian was a little confused. Lin Mu said, it was the master of the heavenly god palace who told us not to move. I thought he was going to do it himself, but today, I can't figure out what he was thinking. Maybe there are other arrangements. The person cursed by God will not live for more than a year. I heard that she was cursed by God and died. When the time comes, she will die very miserably. She will grow old quickly, and her whole body will wither and die. She will not die immediately, but will suffer after a long period of torture. I guess the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace is waiting to see her die after being cursed by the gods, Xiankang said. Lin Mu also nodded and said, that should be the case. Where is this madman Zhu Shen? Shi Jian asked. We must let him watch his sister being cursed to death before finishing him off. If it weren't for the 9 gods, the 9 immortals themselves wouldn't be able to kill so many people. That's probably it. And that Zhang Zizai, no matter how much the master of the beast god palace thinks of him, I don't believe he can live long if he is so entangled with the god curse, Shi Jian said. How confident is the beast god palace this time? Lin Mu asked. Shi Jian sneered and said, how can we be sure? The 2 cent are at the bottom. If there are still a few years left for me, to catch up, maybe there is still a chance. Is really born late, I have no choice. Lin Mu said, basically, they are all accompanied by the 2 people from the Tianshan Palace, especially Na Yishan. He and Tianyi are definitely first and second in strength. They form a team, and the others can't do it at all. There's not much chance. My son and the granddaughter of the master of Mushen Palace, Hualei, don't have much chance either. Xiankang asked, does the master of Mushen Palace intend to betroth Hualei to Linhan prison? Lin Mu smiled bitterly and shook his head, saying, the palace master did have this intention, but my son failed to live up to expectations and failed to get the little girl Hualei, so she refused. She is the palace master's treasure. If she wants to refuse, the palace master will not, probably reluctantly. Shi Jian smiled and said, that's not right. The final selection time in the Wushan battlefield may be very long. When the time comes, a man and a woman fighting side by side will always have feelings. Young people are very impulsive in their feelings, let Han prison show off well. Ah! Lin Mu said, I have warned him countless times, it just depends on whether he is capable of this. After all, they are both sons and daughters of gods, and they have almost grown up together since childhood. The 9 people who participated in the battle, except for Zhang Zizai, were basically all sons and goddesses of gods. By the way, I wonder if Zhang Zizai defeated Sikong Xiao today, Lin Mu asked. Defeated, Shi Jian said. Then he has taken the place of goddess Sikong Xiao. Shi Jian said, the palace master hasn't said anything yet. He will probably wait until the final election of the ancient god son is over before making a decision. What I'm afraid of is that instead of cancelling Sikong Xiao's goddess, he will cancel Yuer's god son. So much. This guy is old and can do anything. What's so strange about it? Shi Jian shook his head. It seems that Feng Xiaoao, Ling Qingtian, and Jushin are completely against us. I don't believe that we are deeply rooted in this divine sect and can't deal with these outsiders. Lin Mu's eyes suddenly showed a cold edge. Just wait and see. Shi Jian smiled faintly. He has the capital, so he is unwilling to give up. Hello, father, and the two holy servants. A young man in blue brocade clothes happened to pass by. This young man had a handsome face, but there was a hint of cunning in his eyes. His behavior was not so proper, and he was a bit slick. Han Yu, come here, Uncle Shi Jian will teach you how to please a girl. Lin Han Yu smiled and said, I know this, I have conquered many girls. Those are just mediocre girls. Do you have the ability to make Huale like you? Lin Han Yu then showed a bitter look on his face, came up dejectedly, and said flatteringly, Uncle Shi Jian, please teach me, I am all ears. Shi Jian said a lot, and Lin Han Yu nodded continuously. The Wuxian battlefield is your best chance. Perform well. Even if you can't get the position of the ancient son of God, if you can win the favor of the beauty, your family's position in the wood god palace will rise. Huale is so beautiful, you don't want her to be obtained by others, right? Shi Jian said. Dad, two uncles, I understand, he Lin Han Yu smiled and nodded. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Feng Qingyang. Chapter 308. Early the next morning, all those who have obtained the qualifications will gather at the Origin altar in the center of Sky Island and board the Origin. I remember that there is a sacrifice ship in the Temple of Sacrifice, which is specially used to go to sea. This is a huge ship with totem patterns on it, and it is not afraid of any wind and waves. The Origin is a sky ship that can fly between heaven and earth. Its structure is more complex, its totem patterns are more advanced, and its shape is larger. It is said that this Origin has been passed down for a long time and was built by our ancestors for a long time. Zhang Ziyi is with them, Feng Xiaoao and Zhu Xian will accompany him to the Wuxian battlefield, while Ling Qingtian, Gu Xianying, and Zhu Shen will stay in Shenzong. After all, Lu Dingxing and the others are still here. Before departure, Lu Dingxing, Ruo Xiaoyu, and the others came to say goodbye. Brother, we are optimistic about you. If Xiaoyu is in a relaxed mood, she blindly worships Zhang Zizai. For her, the ancient son of God is just a treasure. Looking at their optimistic expressions, one doesn't know how difficult it is for this ancient god. Let's go. Feng Xiaoao took them, and Bai Yuepan sat on them, speeding towards the altar of Origin. Before he arrived, Zhang Zizai saw a white skyship suspended above the altar of Origin. Bai Yuepan flew directly towards the huge skyship. Looking at the size of the Origin, it is not a problem to carry tens of thousands of people inside. It is estimated that there are tens of thousands of rooms in the cabin. However, the total number of people on this trip is estimated to be only about 1,000. But it is said that most of the holy divine attendants will go there, and hundreds of divine attendants will also go. It can be said that the top power of the entire Shen sect will soon gather on the Origin. This power is terrifying wherever it goes. Zhang Zizai and the others arrived quite early. The deck of the Origin was like a square. Many people were gathering here and waiting here. The beast god palace master actually arrived first. He was the only palace master here, and he was the first to arrive. You think he is diligent because he controls the Origin and is the captain, Juxian said. I see. Seeing Zhang Zizai, the master of the beast god palace waved to let them pass. Bai Yuepan landed beside him and they jumped down. Everything that needs to be explained these days has been explained. When he saw the 9 immortals, the master of the beast god palace said, when the master of the heavenly god palace comes, just stand aside and stop talking. Zhu Xian nodded and said, I know, he can't kill me anyway, so who is afraid of him? The beast god palace master said, if he wanted to kill you, you would have died long ago. How could you survive to this day? Juxian rolled his eyes and stood with Zhang Zizai. There were more and more people, and she subconsciously held Zhang Zizai's arm. Zhang Zizai tightened his arm and clamped her arm, meaning, don't be afraid of anything as long as I'm here. The two people's unbridled intimacy has indeed attracted the attention of many people. People in the Beast God Palace have long been used to it, but people in other temples still have to look at it with suspicion. However, Zhang Zizai didn't care about these looks. He just liked it, and it was none of other people's business. Sikong Jin and Sikong Xiao also came, and they were accompanied by Chen Qingqin. Unexpectedly, she would also come out. It was said that she had not been seen in public for a long time. Seeing Chen Qingqin, Feng Xiao's eyes widened, but there were too many people around, making it difficult for him to pass. Nowadays, there are many rumors about him, Sikong Jin and Chen Qingqin. When these three people appear at the same time, people will inevitably look at them strangely. Because the Beast God Palace Master is here, they can only stand nearby. The Master of the Beast God Palace asked Sikong Xiao to come over and asked her to stay with Zhang Zizai, and then asked, there will be specific rules announced in a moment. You must be prepared and listen to the rules clearly. The two nodded. Are there any grudges between us? The Beast God Palace Master asked. Zhang Zizai said, as long as she listens to me after going in, there won't be any. If the decision you make is really stupid, I will still give you my opinion, Sikong Xiao said. I'm not you, how could I make stupid decisions? You. Palace Master, he is teasing me again. Sikong Xiao could only complain. The Beast God Palace Master's face was stiff, and he didn't bother to care anymore, saying, it's up to you to do whatever you want now. It's best not to embarrass me when you go in. Xiao, don't have any conflicts with him. The two of you must work together, Chen Qingqin said softly. Okay, Mother. Sikong Xiao supported her words. Zhang Zizai said, don't worry, Aunt Qin, I will definitely take good care of her. Who is your Aunt Qin? Sikong Xiao glared. Chen Qingqin had no choice but to say, Xiao, you're disobedient again. Sikong Xiao could only bite her red lips. Chen Qingqin said apologetically, Zi, Xiao has a bad temper. Don't take offense. We must help each other when we enter the Wuxian battlefield, okay? She was quite worried, unlike Sikong Jin, who stood aside with his hands behind his back and said nothing. Okay, you don't need to ask others, Xiao has the ability on her own, Sikong Jin said. Zhang Zizai pretended not to listen to him and said, don't worry, Aunt Qin, I promise you that I will never let her get hurt. This matter was for Feng Xiao's sake, and since Chen Qingqin had already spoken, Zhang Zizai must give her a guarantee, so that Chen Qingqin would not have to worry about her precious daughter. The fact that he dared to guarantee this made Sikong Xiao look at him with admiration. It's rare to see Zhang Zizai respect others. Xiao. Suddenly someone called him. Sikong Xiao heard a familiar voice. Looking back, he saw a girl in a pink dress trotting over and hugging her. The girl in the pink dress was particularly cute and lovely. She was really outstanding in appearance. It was not an exaggeration to say that she was as beautiful as a fish sinking and a wild goose falling, and as beautiful as a moon hiding and a flower ashamed. Moreover, she and Sikong Xiao had two different styles. Sikong Xiao was like a butterfly dream, while the lively girl was like a freshly blooming flower, youthful and juicy. Her smile and appearance were both eye-catching. Her pure and natural eyes were the most beautiful embellishment. Zhang Zizai just took a second look and Juxian pinched his arm. Is it beautiful? She asked. Too small, I don't like it, not tasty enough, Zhang Zizai said seriously. Fortunately, he was smart and was exempted from the next punishment. Tears. Sikong Xiao had already hugged the girl. The two happily turned around for a few times. It seemed that they were best friends. Zhang Zizai guessed her identity. She was the goddess of the wood god palace and the little granddaughter of the palace master. Her name was Huale. She was also one of the 10 participants this time. It turned out that she had such a good relationship with Sikong Xiao. Huale came, and other people from the wood god palace arrived one after another. The wood god palace master was a skinny old man wearing a brown robe, similar to the beast god palace master, and it seemed that he was about to retreat. Next to him, Zhang Zizai felt a vicious gaze. The man seemed to be called Lin Mu, a holy servant, and his son died at the hands of the 9 immortals. Next to Lin Mu, there was a blue-clothed boy, probably Lin Hanyu, another participant of the wood god palace. He was squinting at Zhang Zizai. As long as they were participants, they would be the next life and death opponents. The Lord of the Beast God Palace and the Lord of the Wood God Palace exchanged greetings, while Huale was talking excitedly to Sikong Xiao. Huale suddenly said, "I heard that your partner is a totem master. Take me to see him, my good Xiao." Sikong Xiao was stunned. Seeing her insistence, she said, "This person is very annoying." "I don't care," she looked for it herself and locked onto Zhang Zizai. She pulled Sikong Xiao forward. She also saw Juxian, but she didn't seem to react. Instead, she asked, "You are so handsome. Are you Zhang Zizai? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment." Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 309. Zhang Zizai was flattered by the compliment he received on their first meeting, and quickly said, "Don't compliment me. Compared to you, I'm ugly as shit. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow. Juxian smiled meaningfully. This guy is really good at picking up girls. She gently let go and let Zhang Zizai perform freely. To be honest, she usually looks like she wants to dominate Zhang Zizai, but that's all fake. She actually has a lot of bad taste in her heart and likes to make things interesting. As expected, after Zhang Zizai said this, the little girl Huale laughed so hard that she bent over and said, "You are so funny. Who would say that about themselves? I am also a totem talisman master. I can draw many beautiful talismans. You must come to the Wood God Palace to learn from me in the future. I heard that your talisman skills are very high. Your soul, like mine, has reached the ethereal realm. Maybe we are the only ones in the world at this age who have reached this realm. So fate, it seems that we are a perfect match. I wonder if you have a boyfriend." Zhang Zizai's words really made people drop their jaws. Isn't Juxian next to him? Besides, this is the treasure of the palace master of the Wood God Palace. Can you tease it like this? What nonsense are you talking about? Sikong Xiao was also amazed. Huale smiled, she did not reject it, but said, "Don't joke with me. Everyone knows that you and this Miss Juxian are a pair. I don't want to steal your love." "Is that so? I was thinking that if you want to steal your love, I am ready to take the knife." Zhang Zizai smiled. "You are so naughty. Sister Juxian will definitely beat you up, right?" Huale asked. Juxian shook his head and said, "That's not the case. I love him so much. I don't mind if he marries a few more beauties and lets him hug him from side to side. Do you want to come? Is that okay? It sounds interesting. I might want to try it." He. Huale was stunned at first, but she was actually quite smart and knew they were joking, so she also laughed. Unlike Sikong Xiao, she couldn't understand how Huale could continue talking to these two weirdos. The master of Mushen Palace over there was already calling her, and she said hurriedly, "Little brother, remember to come to Mushen Palace to play with me." If you don't come, I will go to Beast God Palace to find you. No problem. By this time there were more and more people. Soon, the people who should come arrived. The palace masters of the 5 major palaces had not appeared in public at the same time for a long time. The remaining 3 are the Lord of the Spirit God Palace, the Lord of the Sword God Palace, and the Master of the Heavenly God Palace. The Lord of the Spiritual God Palace was a little younger, wearing a grey robe. Like the Lord of the Beast God Palace and the Lord of the Wood God Palace, he was not tall and even a little hunched. He seemed to be shrouded in a grey vortex, which was extremely strange. Although he was thin, as one of the strongest people in the world, he was once a figure that made a sensation in the Origin continent. Wan Qian was practicing in his spiritual god palace. People called the Lord of the Spiritual God Palace the head of 10,000 insects. Many holy servants and divine servants came to the Spiritual God Palace, but Zhang Zizai's focus was on the 2 sons of gods who participated in the war. The 2 sons of gods wore a black robe and a grey robe. The black robe was thin and long, and the grey robe was thin and small. The appearance of both of them was not very elegant, but the aura on them was very terrible. They both had top-level insect totems. It is said that this Wuxian battlefield is very suitable for them to fight, and their totems are more suitable for fighting in the wilderness. If the battlefield is on the arena of the divine sect, they can only exert 80% of their combat power at most. The Lord of the Beast God Palace had warned us to be careful of these 2 people in the Wuxian battlefield. The wilderness is their world, just like Wanqian in the Fog Island, they can control the overall situation. The thin and tall one is called Xuanhuan. The thin and small one is called Miaoyu. Xuanhuan is a clan member of the Spirit God Palace, and Miaoyu is a peerless genius similar to Yishan that the Spirit God Palace found in a remote place on the Origin continent. If it weren't for the more brilliant Yishan, this Miaoyu would be a mythical existence. On the right side of the Spirit God Palace team is the Sword God Palace. The Sword God Palace is a very old palace of the divine sect, ranking 2nd or 3rd for many years, and has the momentum to surpass the Beast God Palace in recent years. The temperament of the Sword God Palace Master is completely different from that of the Beast God Palace Master. He is tall, imposing, and sharp. Although he has white hair, his waist is straight and his face is serious. He is like a sharp sword inserted into the ground. No strangers are allowed to approach. In terms of majesty, he may be the most majestic among many palace masters. The participants of the Sword God Palace are his grandchildren, who are twin brothers and sisters. The elder brother is called Jun Jiansheng and the younger sister is called Jun Muxi. Even the Sword God Palace Master is so imposing, and the appearance of Jun Jiansheng and Jun Muxi is even more peerless. It is said that twins may not look alike, but these 2 siblings are really amazing. They look very similar, just one boy and one girl. Although they are similar, Jun Jiansheng looks handsome and imposing, while Jun Muxi has an ethereal temperament. Sikong Xiao, Hualei, and Jun Muxi are 3 women among the 10 people. It just so happens that the 3 of them actually have a title, called the 3 Beauties of Shenzhen. Although the title is a bit rustic, it is enough to explain their status in Shenzhen. They are all beauties with noble birth, noble status, outstanding talents, strong backgrounds, and they are all young and have a bright future. Especially Jun Muxi, dignified and ethereal, with the heroic spirit of a female swordsman, her temperament is completely different from Hualei's cute and lovely appearance. Her brother Jun Jianzhen's face is much colder, but he also looks elegant. It is said that the degree of cooperation between the brothers and sisters, whether it is totems or battle tactics, is very amazing. If we look at the strength of the team, according to people's estimates, the brothers and sisters are the second only to Yishan's team. Because, it is said that they have a telepathic connection, and when fighting, it is almost equivalent to 2 people with one mind. In addition to them, the most conspicuous is the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace. As the first Lord, and the youngest among the lords, the lord of the heavenly god palace has created too many myths, and many of them are still circulating. Other lords have grandchildren competing for the ancient son of God, while he has his son competing, which is enough to show his youth. He was a warm and gentle man in a white robe. He was the only one who looked like a middle-aged man. His image was like the image of the ancient gods in the hearts of all living beings in the divine section. It was an elegant appearance that saved all living beings. His every move could make people feel like they were bathed in spring breeze. In front of him, the three palace masters of the beast god, wood god, and spirit god all looked too old and too skinny to be the face of the divine sect. Beside him, Tianyi and Yishan were the focus of everyone. Holy Dragon Totem. Author, Fengqing Yang. Chapter 310. Zhang Zizai had already seen them yesterday. Tianyi is a cool and awesome guy. The evil smile on his face can fool some girls, but not Zhang Zizai. On the other hand, this young man named Yi Tian is from an ordinary person's background and has a very plain temperament. He doesn't fight for anything, but everything in the world is in his hands. Because his talent is truly unparalleled. No one wants to be his enemy, because he always makes people surrender in terms of strength, and also makes people feel comfortable in terms of his personality. He is a gentleman of Shenzhen. He likes to play chess and carries a Go game with him at all times. Go game can make him calmer and allow him to understand the chess game of heaven and earth. When Zhang Zizai saw him for the first time, he knew very clearly that he was probably the most terrifying opponent he had ever encountered. His rapid cultivation speed and his growth trajectory are very similar to Zhang Zizai, but he is more convincing because his character is not ostentatious. He stood there as calm as water. When someone praised him or said hello, he responded with a smile, and then continued to be immersed in his own world. Other shrines only have these things. This time, brother, you want to become the son of the ancient god? It's really easy. Tianyi glanced around with a somewhat disdainful expression. To be honest, I can handle some teams with 2 people. I can handle them all by myself. I really don't know why these shrines are not like this. Brother, don't underestimate the enemy. My foster father said that there is no battlefield, so be careful with your words and deeds. Do you listen to him? He is too cautious in doing things. To be honest, although this final election is very sensational, it is really not challenging, Tianyi said. Yi Tian smiled slightly and did not continue. He knew that everyone was already here. Specific rules will be announced soon. Tianyi glanced around the crowd, and finally locked his eyes on Zhu Xian, with an evil look flashing in his eyes. Did you see that? That cursor, she was the one who killed my brother Tianyu, and Tianyi looked at him with hot eyes. Yi Tian glanced at it and nodded slightly. The figure is really hot, and she is still so attractive a few years later. No wonder brother Tianyuan and the others are obsessed with her and want to play with her together. She was quite innocent back then, but it is a pity that she is so coquettish now. It is said that she likes to raise pretty boys. The one beside her is named Zhang Zizai, is her forbidden love. Tianyi narrowed his eyes and glanced at Zhang Zizai. He seems to have defeated Xiao'er, Yi Tian said. Yes, I also heard that he and Xiao'er have some conflicts. But this time, the 2 of them are going to be a team. They don't agree with each other. Find them after we go in and let Xiao'er go with us. You still have the opportunity to develop a relationship with her. Yeah, okay, Yi Tian nodded. Tianyi is still looking at the 9 immortals. What are you thinking about? Yi Tian asked. Tianyi sneered. She likes young and strong men so much, he said. Will she be interested in me? She is already such a slut. If I send it to her door, she won't refuse, right? Yishan was silent for a moment and said, brother, on the road of cultivation, there is eternity, so don't be distracted. Tianyi smiled and said, a little monk like you is already pursuing beauties, don't you know the beauty of women? Especially a woman like her, You won't understand unless you have tried it. If I hook up with her, recommend you to her. Forget it, I don't need it. Yishan pursed his lips and did not continue. Just when he said this, a ray of light flashed over the altar of origin, and a scroll fell down. The Lord of the Heavenly God Palace stretched out his hand to catch the scroll and said, "The two sect masters have given an oracle, but they still don't kneel down with me." So people on the origin saluted first, and then everyone stood up. Only then did the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace open the scroll. The other four palace lords also stood together and read the contents of the scroll. 10 people participating in the battle came out. The Lord of Tianshan Palace said. Zhang Zizai said goodbye to 9 immortals and Feng Xiaoao, and walked to the central location. Sikong Xiao followed him, but her eyes always collided with Na Yishan's inadvertently. "Hey, you just hooked up and pretended that I didn't exist? I was worried that you would unite with them to beat me up," Zhang Zizai said. "Then you make so much noise every night, do you think I don't exist?" Sikong Xiao finally found a chance to take revenge on him. "That's love, you know nothing." Zhang Zizai rolled his eyes. "You're just being stubborn," Sikong Xiao said. "Why are you just pretending?" Hualei came up to him at some point and left the young man in blue, Lin Hanji, aside. Lin Hanyu looked a little depressed. "The little girl is not allowed to know." Zhang Zizai smiled. "Little brother, let me ask you, what do you think of me? Is it okay if you leave Sister Juxian to be with me?" Hualei asked delicately. "How courageous!" Zhang Zizai said, "Don't be like this. I won't be satisfied with just one person. Just serve me together." "Greedy. I hate you. Lei rarely takes the initiative like this. Who makes you so interesting?" "I like interesting people best," she muttered. "But interesting people like to have a lot of women," Zhang Zizai said with a smile. "Wow, I don't want to play with you anymore." Hualei pouted. "Stop talking." The 5 palace masters were still reading the content on the scroll. As soon as they came out, Hualei started chatting with Zhang Zizai. The content of what they said was a bit exciting. The palace master of Mushen Palace was a bit too noisy and he quickly scolded her. "One sentence, otherwise, I don't know what my precious granddaughter and Zhang Zizai would say." Hualei stuck out her tongue and whispered, "These old guys are really boring." Zhang Zizai thought she was quite interesting, at least more interesting than Sikong Xiao, who had a stern face and couldn't take a joke. He suddenly felt a hot gaze looking at him, and turned his head to see that it was Lin Hanyu from the Wood God Palace. "Hey, did I dig up your ancestral grave?" Looking at me like this, Zhang Zizai asked directly, of course, in a low voice. "Don't pay attention to him, he's trying to get me to marry him every day, boring him to death," Hualei said softly, covering her mouth. Lin Hanyu wanted to cry but had no tears. Shi Jian had taught him so many ways, but he hadn't entered the battlefield of no life yet. Why did he feel that he had no chance? Why was she so interested in Zhang Zizai? He was the forbidden food of the magic spellcaster. What was there to get close to? Just because he also knew talismans. I couldn't figure it out. At this moment, the Lord of the Heavenly God Palace said, "The rules have been announced, everyone listen carefully." People pricked up their ears. He said, 5 teams from the 5 major palaces will enter the Wushan battlefield from 5 directions. The palace that can find a dragon-shaped black key will be the winner. One of the winning team can become the ancient son of God, and the other one, the master, can guarantee that his totem will evolve to the cosmic level. As for who is the ancient son of God and who gets the cosmic level totem, it will be decided by the palace master after looking at the performance of the whole process, and it has nothing to do with personal strength. Cosmic level totem. Zhang Zizai now knows that the Hong level totem is not the highest. There are totems that surpass the Hong level totem between heaven and earth, surpassing the 8 super totems of the Yanlong dynasty and the death god Nether Dragon totem. That is the cosmic level totem. he only recently learned about the existence of the cosmic level totem. There may not be many cosmic level totems in the entire origin continent. That is the totem of the peak of all living beings. Every cosmic level totem is a mythical existence. In other words, the team that finds the black dragon-shaped key will have the good fortune to change their fate, even if they don't become the sons of the ancient gods. There are not many universe-level totems in the divine section. The 5 great palace masters are said to be universe-level totems, and there are no more than 10 holy servants who are universe-level totems. Among the countless priests, there is only one who has a universe-level totem, and that is Yishan.